right, so Al,
Yes.
we're
Dave.
here out on your deck,
Yeah, man.
and we're gonna enjoy a couple of beers. And
A
we're
Voodoo
calling
Ranger.
Voodoo Ranger. And we're calling this the Bent Elbow Production.
Yes,
right?
that's
All
right. That's right. So I don't know much about that beer.
Yeah.
I know this beer
Mm-hmm.
because I've had it before.
Okay.
And to tell you the truth, it was the one thing. So I had a kind of an accident in March.
Yeah.
Like for some reason I lost my taste for beer of all things and coffee. And one of the first things when I started getting better was I had this hankering for this beer.
Okay.
This particular
So
beer.
what is it? It's
So, you've never tried this, eh?
no.
I'm going to try and pronounce it as best I can. It's called the Duchess de Bourgogne.
Okay.
So it's a red Flanders ale from Belgium. And, you know, I'm a big fan of sours.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this one is a sour, but it's real different. And it's one of those things that either you love it or you hate it.
Okay.
There's no middle of the road with this beer.
Is it more of a summer beer or more?
Well, I'm going to give you a little taste
All right,
before
let's
I
try
have
that.
mine.
Yeah.
And honestly, I want you to really give me a true reaction to what you think it's like.
Okay.
I'm very curious.
All right. Let's have a taste.
Here you go, buddy.
So this one, wow, look at how red it
Nice
is.
color, eh? Nice color and a
Oh, it smells
decent
fruity.
head on it, and it's fruity. Yeah, but it's different.
Wow, it's like a beer wine combination, kind of.
Well, that's kind of interesting you say that,
Right.
because I never saw that wine connection, but people have commented on that. It's very acidic. It's actually gotten people describe as like a balsamic vinegar finish on it, but it starts out real fruity.
Yeah, fruity.
But you could see if you like the taste, you could get really sold on that one, couldn't you?
I didn't like it at all.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
So
I
what's
love
this
it.
one we got? You bought this
Voodoo
for me.
Ranger,
Voodoo
yeah.
Ranger from New Belgium IPA. I'll show you that one. Voodoo Ranger.
Yeah, Voodoo Ranger.
So this one is made in Etobicoke, Ontario,
Yeah.
which is a little bit of a segue to we're sitting in Waterloo, Ontario,
Yep.
Canada, and we're
Yep.
both Canadians.
Both Canadians.
Both been in the real estate business for a long time.
I mean, 40 years, and
40
I think
years.
you're pretty close. Something.
Yeah, so we're just sort of shooting the shit today,
You got
talking about real estate and drinking beer, right?
What a great combination.
It is a good
Right?
combination.
And you know what? It's first day of fall, I think, right? Or is
Yeah,
tomorrow?
tomorrow.
Yeah,
Tomorrow's the
tomorrow's
first day.
day of fall.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful out here.
Yeah.
We got the fire table going. We got the walnuts falling over here.
And
My poor dog.
And the
he's
fire
had to
table
dodge them.
isn't even necessary today. It's beautiful
No,
out, but it's
no,
nice.
no.
So look at that. That's
Ooh,
nice.
Nice
Golden
color, beautiful head on it.
Yeah,
Wow,
that's
wow.
nice.
I'll have to see what it tastes like. Eh?
Oh yeah, it's a good IPA.
Really?
Good bitter.
Ooh, good.
Let's
good.
try that. So,
See, this is my only complaint with this beer. That's how much you fill a glass.
Oh,
with,
it's
right?
small.
Right, it's small.
what is this one? This one is
That's probably 500.
473 milliliters.
Yeah, this guy I think is 330.
What's the print? 7%.
I have
7%.
no idea what that translates to
No, me either.
in pints or whatever.
No.
But anyway,
It's a gallon.
it's our system.
It's a gallon of
It's
beer.
our system.
It's a gallon.
Always keep us guessing, right? I know.
So we're going to
Hey,
talk
cheers.
about the villages, and we're going
Yes.
to talk about rentals in the villages.
Mhm.
But more importantly, I think we're talking about your return to the villages,
Yeah.
which is coming up in
January.
January, right?
Yeah, I'll be there for a couple of months.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And you're renting.
I am renting. That's
Okay.
right. I've chosen to do that.
Right.
As you know, I'm an investor. I've
Mhm.
invested in a lot of real estate over the years. But at this point in my life, I'm kind of real happy renting, especially in the villages.
Okay.
Our age difference,
Right.
that's the difference as well.
Right.
I'm sort of at the point where I'm happy with the investments I have.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to sort of stick there. I don't want to take on any more risk at all or any more worry. So that's my train of thought. That's why I'm renting right now.
I think you also mentioned too that it gives you the opportunity for variety, right?
Exactly. Different places. So, we're real attached to our dog,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I had thought that I really wanted a courtyard
with a fenced yard.
With a fenced yard, yeah,
Right.
because for the dog.
Right.
But in fact, that's not real important to me. You know, they have enough dog parks out in the villages,
Mm-hmm.
and actually, every day we're there twice a day at the dog park. He loves it.
Right.
He's got his buddies there, and you know, we have our friends, our social network there too.
So, but last time you went to the villages, you had two different experiences.
Yep.
You had the backyard fenced
Yes.
yard experience,
Yep.
and then you had the side lanai experience.
Yep.
So, walk us through that, because I think what you just said was that you were looking for a property with a fenced yard,
Yep.
but you actually stayed at the house with the lanai first.
Yep.
Before you went to the fenced yard.
That's right. So my thinking was that, you know, you're letting out the dog to do his thing, that you'd want that fenced yard. But in fact, you know, my dog's he's out of that puppy stage. So he's pretty predictable when we got to take him for a walk. What we found is that we didn't really need or use the fenced yard that much. And in fact, we sort of like that lanai because it's very open, it gives you a good view, it's nice to sit out there. Whereas in the other, with the fenced yard, I found like you're more or less looking at a wall.
Right.
And you know, you can see what we have here. I love this open look. I like seeing some nature, and so.
What about the dog? Did the dog react differently?
No, he's pretty mellow.
Okay.
He's part golden and part Aussie, so he is quite happy just being with us in the house. And again, I say, like, he's predictable. He doesn't have to go out every 2 minutes.
Right.
You know, he can go 8 hours before he has to, you know, go out. And then the dog park, we take him there, but he's high energy.
Right.
So we have to take him to the dog park at least once a day, if not twice a day. And then he runs out there and he has a great time. He likes it.
And the dog park that you went to was down at Homestead, because we
That's
were
right.
at Citrus Grove. And that dog park is new. It's split into two sections with large dogs and small dogs.
Right.
And
Forgot about that. Yeah.
It's a great space because it's got a shaded area for yourself,
Oh yeah.
right? But it's also got like water for the dogs there.
It is really well designed, and yeah, you know, it's just a great spot. You're right. You got that overhang that you can sit. There's benches there, water for the dog. It's terrific. It's a good spot, and you know, the dog owners that come out there, they're very respectful. They know their dog's limits. Very rarely are there any fights with the dogs.
Right.
So it's a real nice place just to congregate, meet friends, and just we really enjoy it.
And I think that's sort of what happened last year when you were there, is you did meet the same people every day. For the
Yes.
most part, right?
Yeah, it depends what time you go, right?
Yeah.
So again, as I was saying, my dog's predictable. So I would go, let's say, 4 o'clock, and then in the morning about 8:30 or
Right.
so. But you go different times, you meet different people because their dogs are on different routines, or
sure.
their work schedule, or whatever schedule they have.
Did you find that there were a lot of people that were still working down in Citrus Grove? That
There still are some.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, they still made it down there, and I mean, it's a great place to live.
Right.
Full time. You got a terrific social network, and you know, I think that's what's missing in a lot of neighborhoods. For instance, this neighborhood here where I'm living, you know, in a way, it's much like the villages. I have the community pools, pickleball courts,
Right.
lots of green space, lots of walking area,
Right.
a lot of dog people. So it's kind of similar. It's just, it gets pretty damn cold here in winter.
Yeah.
and even the fall could be,
Yeah, because what time, like the pool will be closed probably,
it's done now.
it's done, it's finished.
It's done. It's about 10 weeks.
Right.
Uh,
And we're what, September 22nd,
yeah.
right?
Now, the tennis and pickleball courts, they're open
Right.
right until the snow flies. But, you know, the snow flies, you're not playing.
Absolutely.
I mean,
yeah.
it's a hazard enough
Yeah. It's-
without having ice and snow, right?
So your plan is to go down in the new year,
Yeah.
January 2nd, 3rd, after you finished Christmas with family, that type of
Yes,
thing?
that's right. I like December.
Yeah.
And my family's here.
Mhm.
So otherwise I'd be down there.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then you're committing to the 3-month snowbird season, basically January, February, March, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's going to be your getaway from this area, get away
Yeah.
from the cold,
That's
right?
exactly. And we have an international airport now
Okay.
here in Waterloo.
Yeah.
It's 10 minutes away from me.
Yeah.
Before we had to drive all the way to Toronto.
Right.
But now we can take an easy
Which is
flight.
about, what, an hour and 10 minutes,
Yeah,
right?
it's not much.
Right.
But it's a bigger airport, and it's a little longer to get through security and so on.
Right.
This one's easy peasy, and it's also discount airline, so the flights are cheap.
And it flies into Sanford on the other end.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And you can just get the villages.
So,
Right.
I mean, for me, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Just works really, really well.
For sure.
No reason to drive down. A drive down would be about 22 hours or so. So, yeah, that's a bit of a stretch.
So you could
it's
take
like-
2 or 3 days if you wanted to.
You could.
Right.
And the only reason I drive is if I have the dog with me. Then
Right.
I take the dog. Right.
So you would leave here, drive for 8 hours, stay overnight, drive for 8 hours, stay
Yeah.
overnight, and then you're in the villages the next day.
Yeah, exactly. And that's easy. And it's a good ride.
Yeah.
The interstates are really good along the way.
Yeah.
And
Well, it gets easier as you get south. Right? Once you get out of the
Yeah.
bad weather,
yeah,
and
exactly.
right, it gets easier and easier as you go.
And then if you're using Waze or Google Maps or any of them, they're in real time so that you avoid traffic jams.
They redirect you as you go.
Exactly. So it all works. It all works really well. So
Yeah, I always find driving south is a lot easier than driving north, right?
yeah, exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about your decision not to buy in the
Yeah.
villages, because you are spending 90 days there,
Yeah.
and you could rent your house out when you weren't there if you
Sure.
so choose.
Sure.
But for the most part, you've made a decision that says, I'm committing X amount of dollars. I'm going to go for 3 months, and I'm going to do that for the next number of years.
Yeah.
Right?
So there's variables in that decision. For me, the variables are the currency exchange, because right now it's really bad. So I think,
Right.
a $450,000 home would be about $650, somewhere around there.
Right? Because we're at what, 28, 30%. Right?
30%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's sizable. Then I do have properties here, and I'm not sure I want to take on any more in my portfolio.
Right.
The ones I have here, I manage quite easily. I've had long-term tenants, mainly seniors in them.
Right.
So it's an easy management.
And as a Canadian, you can do it 2 ways. You can buy the house outright in Florida. So then you're taking $600,000 Canadian
Yeah.
and putting it somewhere for 90 days of use every year.
Yeah.
Right? So that's a challenge because you don't want to tie up that kind of equity.
Well, 600,
Yeah.
even at 5%, is $30,000, right?
Right. Yeah.
So it's a fair amount of money.
Right.
I think your situation's different. Mine is such that I would be looking at it as solely my own home. I wouldn't be buying a property there as a rental investment.
Right.
So if I was looking at that, yeah, it would be like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
Also because I have grandkids here, and
Yeah.
I want to be here at certain holidays. And I think it's important to them. It's important to us. That's the point we're at. Like, I'm retired now,
Right.
so family has always been important, but it's even more important now. The get-togethers, the dinners, going to cottages, that sort of thing is real important.
And with like a 90-day commitment, you haven't put all your equity into one spot, so you can use the equity that you haven't spent basically to do other things, like go up north for the summer and rent a cottage or whatever it might be.
Exactly.
Way more flexibility.
More flexibility to go to other places, and you have freed up cash too if an opportunity comes up.
Right.
And I'm always thinking there's an opportunity down the road.
Right.
So I just, I'm not sure I want to get tied in right now.
Right.
I don't know what the next year is going to bring. Might be next year I do buy a place there, but right now I'm really happy renting. the quality of the homes in the villages is incredible.
Yeah, and if you look at it strictly from a cash position, and we use the number 600,000, and let's say you're renting in the villages and it's going to cost you $20,000 Canadian. That's 30 years of renting that you could use that $600,000 for. And like you said, if you have that $600,000 in a bank making 5%, which is possible now with the interest rate increases, you're making
Even
$30,000
in a money market. Yeah, exactly.
It's paying for your rent for the villages when you're there for 3 months, right?
Yeah. So that's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is even if you don't rent out the property. No, I guess we'd have to let's look at rentals first.
Sure.
So let's assume that the rent covers everything.
Right.
All your costs, right?
Yeah.
So if you look at it that way, an investment in the villages, what you'd have over the past 10 years.
You mean if you bought a house and rented it out?
Yes, exactly,
Okay,
exactly.
yeah.
And as an investment property,
Right.
not to live there.
Sure.
You might take 3
So now you're
months,
talking my language.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, you're like Duolingo, right?
Yeah.
Because you own a place that's your own,
Yeah.
that you don't rent out, and then you have other rentals.
Correct.
Correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about the rentals or as an investment. So when I looked at the numbers over 10 years, and the return was pretty good. Like it was about 8% or so.
Average per year.
No, over a 10-year period.
Okay.
Okay. Because there was ups and there was downs,
Right.
and there was 2017 and 2000. Like
Sure,
it was
sure.
all over the place.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially in Florida. So I looked at it, and I think it was about 8.5, 8.6, something like that. So you look at the rental, and you're getting back 8%. Let's say you put in $40,000, right? And you're getting 8% for a starter.
Yeah.
Like in terms of the whole property,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's not the 40,000 that you're getting 8% on.
You're getting 8% on the 400K.
Right.
Right.
Which you bought at 200K or whatever
Yeah.
it was. So you get that. Plus, your tenant is paying down your mortgage.
Right.
So there's principal reduction every year. So, when the numbers I did from 2013 to 2023,
Yeah.
so you had, on the figures I was using, the down payment, I think the house was about 165 or 200. I can't remember exactly. But basically, it was working out that I was paying off approximately $3,000 to $4,000 a year.
Okay.
In principal.
Right.
And when I say I was paying, no, I wouldn't be paying it down. It's the tenant that's paying it down, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the big secret, I
Yeah.
guess, of how people get wealthy investing in real estate.
Right.
So you got, let's say 3,000. Let's be conservative, 3,000 plus 8% on your force. So you got like over time, you're getting this huge return.
Right.
Like in excess of 15%, you're probably getting around 18 to 20%. You might even be doing better.
Right. Right.
So
yeah, because people forget. It depends on what you do with your property. But if let's use a $400,000 property just for the sake of argument. As an investor, you don't want to put $400,000 into it.
No,
you want to put as least amount as possible.
So you can buy more property
Right.
or invest in more areas.
So let's say it's 20%, which is $80,000.
Right.
You have a $320,000 mortgage and
yes.
$80,000 in.
Yeah.
But if the $400,000 mortgage, a $400,000 property goes up by 8%,
Yeah.
it is now worth $432,000.
Yeah.
But you only put 40 in, so
Yeah.
your $40,000 investment made you $32,000.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You can't do that with stocks.
No, you
can't
can't.
buy 20% of a stock, but make
Right.
the whole gain on the 100% of the stock.
Right. Now, just saying that real estate doesn't always work that way, right? We've had down years where I think in Florida, I think it was 2017, went down substantially for
Yeah.
a while. So that's why, like, I took it over a 10-year period,
Sure.
just to see what our average was. But that being said, so there is no way that I can discount the idea that investing real estate in Florida or investing in real estate in general is a bad decision.
Right.
It's a good decision. It's just there's certain points, like I can say, as I'm over 70 now,
Right.
so, and I'm retired, and I'm kind of saying, I've got enough on my plate. I'm happy. I'm satisfied where I'm at.
Right.
I don't want to take on any more stress or worries, or get a call from a tenant. Okay, even if I get it from a property management firm,
Right.
I'm still getting the call.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. Yeah.
Or I see the bill at the end of the month that I was charged this, because
Right.
this had to be done.
AC broke or whatever it
Yeah,
is, right?
yeah. So I just don't want that anymore. I'm happy where I'm at.
Yeah.
But if I was your age, you're in your 50s, right?
Yeah.
So I would be doing what you're doing,
Right.
investing. So, because that's what I was doing at that time.
Right.
And buying properties, putting in tenants, holding them for a while, selling some.
Right.
So, yeah.
And it's investing in real estate over time has always been a good investment.
Listen, I mean, think about it. Materials go up,
Yeah.
land goes up, doesn't go down.
Yeah.
So, and labor goes up.
Yeah.
It's really tough to lose. But here's the point. Like for me, my time frame to make money is shortened now.
Right.
So if there's a
And you don't necessarily need to make money.
right,
Right.
right. So, but let's say we have a decade that's bad. I may need that money during that decade.
Sure.
You probably could weather it out till you retire.
Right.
So you're fine. You'll just stick. It's a paper loss, right?
Right. Right.
But for me, it may not be. I may have to sell that property to get enough funds to continue my lifestyle.
So let's talk about the interest rates then, because that's made a big impact on whether people are investing, or B, if they do invest, what do they have to charge the end user to cover their costs? Right? There's sort of two aspects of that. And one of the things I've seen is people are concerned about purchasing because the interest rate is higher. But I've also seen on the rental side, patio villas go from $3,500 a month to $5,500 a month in the last 2 years. And that's not just because of supply and demand. I think a lot of it has to do with it costs more to buy the investment, and the end user, which is the client renting, is going to pay more, right?
Right. So as long as the demand is there, you're fine.
Right.
Right? But in the market, there's a limit to what people will pay. And I guess to a certain extent, that's always a worry.
Right.
How much it can support. Now,